Hey, true believers. Chris Mack coming at you today with Green Lantern issue 47. And the stakes just continue to rise as Black Lantern after Black Lantern rises from the dead to try to destroy all the Lantern homeworlds, to basically wipe out life as it is, to make the entire universe a black void of death. What makes this book the most interesting for me is the opening scenes. Here with Atrocitus on Yosemite, however you want to pronounce that. But here, before we dive into who made this book, I love how Jeff Johns kind of explains the Red Lantern Corps. The most powerful hate is not born out of ignorance, nor prejudice, nor perceived threat. Those three are fear in disguise. The fury that fuels my core ignites from personal pain. Those whose lives were ravaged by greed, lust, and control wield the crimson light. The rings replaced our damaged hearts. They beat for them, and they keep us alive only to hate. Yeah, I mean, that's not exactly a great way to live, but a way to open this book. Hell yeah. Because at this point, Atrocitus says, but at least we live. And we see these horrific looking creatures. And we come to find out that these are the incursions that were part of Atrocitus's clan that he betrayed to forge his central power battery. They say here, we have new answers to your questions. We've seen tomorrow. Do you have a query? Perhaps you wish you know how to die. I assure you, brother, your terrifying fate is truly intriguing. So this is To Hell and Back. This is Jeff Johns writing. This is Doug Mahnke doing the pens. Christian, or pencils, not the pens. Inks is Christian Almany, Doug Mahnke, and Tom Nugent with Mark Irwin. Colors is Randy Mayer. Letters, Rob Lay. And there's everyone else working on the book. So here the Green Lantern says, who are these? For the 5 inversions, once the last survivors of the planet Ryut. Sub-reference, Massacre Space Sector 666 classified. Power rings, unknown. And then it dawns on Atrocitus who this is. They say, if you four babbled verses of rhetoric instead of forging ahead as I did. And again, remember that when a Black Lantern strikes out, they want the characters at their highest emotional resonance. So when they eat their heart, their rings are powered. So here, Atrocitus is saying that you all were just talking about the Book of the Dead, blah, blah, blah. And so this one, what's his name? Because their names are Quell and Roximo. I sometimes wish that when they gave you weird alien names or whatnot, they'd help you pronounce them. But anyway, because I remember for the longest time I could not say Atrocitus. I had to ask one of my comic shops how the hell to say that. So this inversion says, your rage cannot grow any brighter, can it? No. Then you are ripe. And just awesome 90s splash page. This Black Lantern rips out Atrocitus's heart. And it's just gory, spectacular, Night of the Living Dead style. Love it. Love it. And you can just see the pain in Atrocitus's face. Now, spoiler. I know this was kind of a spoiler, but if you have not read these and you want to see what happens, go get the books, come back, and you're back. Because this next part I'm going to spoil because it's interesting to relate what happens here with what Atrocitus talked about at the beginning of the book. So his heart gets ripped out, and you think at that point he's going to die. It says, Atrocitus of Ryut. Rage. You things may slaughter the other core, but the Red Lanterns will not fall so easily. So essentially, depending on the damage, the Red Lanterns cannot die because the ring is their new heart. And you find out later, I can't remember if it was when that Green Lantern became one, back in, what was it, like Green Lantern 30-something. It was when they first kind of started introducing the Red Lantern Corps. But anyway, I can't remember if it's there or later on where it explains why it can be very dangerous to remove the red ring once you're part of the Corps. We now return to Kroger, where the last book left off. And we see now that Aben Sur, however you pronounce it, and his daughter, whose name I cannot remember, are back from the dead and fighting two individuals that they know quite well. Aben Sur, who was best friend of Sinestro and the predecessor to Hal Jordan, and then Sinestro was the lover of Aben Sur's daughter, and it was also his best friend. And as we've talked about, the Black Lanterns try to use all the memories of their victims to get them to the height of their emotional resonance so that they can rip their hearts. So, for example, Aben Sur goes after Lantern. He goes, "It was foretold to me that you would surpass my accomplishments. And oh, how you have, Earthman. I've never brought the Corps to the brink of destruction or failed to save a city of 7 million people." And I just love how Hal is unshook by this. He goes, "Go ahead and play the universe's largest violin for me. If you're going to drag up the ups I've made over the years and throw them a little deeper in my face, dig a little deeper. I've already made peace with Parallax and Coast City. Now let's put aside the masquerades, Black Lantern. You can act like Aben Sur, but you're not him. You're just a program that's about to get erased." And no matter how much the Black Lantern tries to plug all these things at Hal Jordan, he still just stays in his state of will. Now, remember this in a moment. That guy says, "I was obsessed with the future. You ignore it. We cannot be more different, yet the ring chose you. Why? You may have found a purpose in the Corps as I did, but you have no path. You take flight without destination. So what does it matter if you die tomorrow or today?" And so we kind of get left off with that, and Sinestro goes against his former lover. She goes, "Many died to bring order to Kruger. Many more will die to bring it to the rest of the universe. That is the cost of order. But is everything that's brought you to this point, has it been worth my death? Has it been worth losing the only woman you ever loved?" And that brings Sinestro pause. Now, remember I was talking about how Hal Jordan just stays in his state without being shook. This shook Sinestro, and it made him pause. He goes, "I don't." And so the Black Lantern sees fear, love, compassion, and she's ready to strike. But the Indigo, because the only way that you can destroy these lanterns thus far is by combining one or more of the emotional spectrum. So she's harnessing willpower, and she goes, "Do not hesitate." And now before anything else can happen, she goes, "I miss you so much," his former lover. And you can see the confliction and pain in his eyes. And a full-out assault happens. And it just hurts to see that Sinestro doesn't really change who he is, because Hal goes, "Who was she?" Or it's not daughter's sister. He goes, "It was Aben's sister." "Who was she to you?" "Nobody." That is one cool customer to bury that much. And it also resonates with what Atrocitus was talking about at the beginning, talking about how what people use as rage is actually masked as fear. And it just shows here with Sinestro. He acts like a badass, but when he's brought to the moment, it makes him pause. And then I hate that we want to see more of John Stewart, but these last few issues, it's just been him investigating Xanshi, and we get maybe 1 or 2 moments, and then that's it. We go over to Odom, which is the home of the Blue Lantern Corps, and they are being overrun by the Orange Lantern Corps. And even though I love how, even though the ring's saying all will be well, we see Globulus just going, "He?" But of course, St. Walker is just one of those guys that stands in his convictions, and he goes, "All will be well." And that's why he's my favorite Blue Lantern, along with, I cannot remember the elephant guy's name off the top of my head, but he's another badass that was introduced. Now, before Larry Fleas can take the blue light, we find out that he's bitten off more than he can chew, and he keeps saying, I want, I want. And there's something particular you wouldn't assume he'd want. And then Atrocitus attacks. So guys, Green Lantern, issue 47. A lot of great emotional moments, beautiful artwork, and just continues to push the Black Lantern story forward. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is that you get your comic books and action figures, and grab this series. If you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate it if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy emotional spectrum bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified, come to the channel, and we love talking with you all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.